Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast. It is a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. On this episode, we are joined by Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza Podcast.
Wasambazaji?
Wasambazaji.
Okay.
Oh no! How do we combine walk and sambazaji? Sambazaji. We need to come with a.
Yeah, we gotta work on that.
You gotta have a name for your fan base. You know, mine. I call mine the shit talkers. You know, because we just talk shit, right?
I like that. You guys, please follow and subscribe to Paula's podcast. It's called Talk Shit with P.
Yay!
Look at Sambaza. He's like, oh, you said a bad word.
You
So
see, I told you,
goofy.
Sambaza, I make people so comfortable that they forget that they're not supposed to. But
I see.
Sambaza.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast, a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. We are happy to have our favorite co-host, Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza Podcast. He is a two-time nominee for Best African Diasporan Podcast by the APVA, and he is from the Republic of Kenya. He also has been a presenter at the Afros and Audio Podcast Festival discussing Pan-Africanism. He also will be an ambassador for the 2022 Afros and Audio Podcast Festival. Welcome, Sambaza.
Welcome, Jen. I think it's 2024.
What did I say?
2022. Roll it
bad.
back, roll it back, roll it back. All right. Well,
You
hey,
know-
I'm doing okay, Jen. Thank you so much. Another week. Hey, I'm happy to have the guest today. He is a really, really cool person. So, here we go.
Yes, for sure. I'm definitely excited about to bring another episode. We appreciate you guys taking part in the content with our collaboration. Be sure to check out the Sambaza podcast and Woke by Accident prior episodes. We're just enthralled that you guys have been tuning in with our lives. So we really excited to get into today's topic. We're definitely wanting to get into a topic about mental health awareness with our fabulous next guest that will be on with us. So, Sambaza, any thoughts before we introduce our guests?
I think this will be a great show. Like I said, I'm really stoked to have the guest here, and she is really an awesome person, very bubbly, and I draw inspiration from her because she gives you the energy whenever you meet her. She'll give you enough energy to get you, like if you're down, she'll get you up there and make you feel awesome.
For sure. I appreciate you sharing those words. And so, our next guest is a self-proclaimed mental health advocate, content creator, and the host and creator of the TalkShitWithP podcast, Miss Paula Sima Mulamula.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Well, I'm much better now because Sambaza is always giving me. Wait, I don't believe I'm allowed to cuss here. So Sambaza is always giving me S. So to hear him say amazing stuff about me today, which it's live and it's recorded, like you can't go back on this thing. It's incredible. It just made me even more happier right now. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you all for having me.
Welcome.
For sure. And Sambaza, did you tell her she couldn't curse?
No.
No,
Okay.
I wasn't sure because when you mentioned my show, you didn't say the word, so I figured it was a no cussing
Oh,
show.
okay.
So
It's
I
not.
didn't wanna disrespect just your stage, you know.
Oh no, I appreciate that. I mean, I, may not, but you certainly are welcome to be yourself and be authentically you.
Oh,
So,
thank you, because holding back really takes a lot from me. So thank you for that permission. I appreciate it. Now I'm
yes,
even
please.
better.
Please be yourself, and we appreciate you as you are. Okay. So, for sure. Yeah, Paula, you consider yourself as your on your website states you are a mental health advocate. Share about how you advocate for mental health, and Sambaza will get started.
All right. So first of all, I myself, I battle with depression. So I think the lack of support or knowledge, the people I was around when I discovered I was first depressed and going through my depression is what made me become an advocate, because I felt alone and I didn't want other people out there to feel alone. So, sometimes if you don't have what you need, you gotta start becoming what you need, right? Something like that. So I was like, and it's not that and most of the time, my friends feel some type of way when I say I didn't have the support I needed, and it's not that I don't have friends who are supportive. Oh, believe me, I have amazing, incredible people around me who are supportive, but in terms of my mental health, because I myself, I didn't know what depression was. I was just still learning, like, is it really, am I depressed, or am I just in a period of moment, or like what is really happening? So I needed to learn what was really going on, and they needed to learn. But how you gonna learn if I'm also not sure what's going on? So I can tell you how to support me if I also don't know exactly what I need or what's going on with me. So in that stage, but also because we come from, again, I'm from Tanzania, that's in East Africa, and we grew up where when you complain about certain things, you are told, oh, you're just tired, or tomorrow is going to be a better day, or at least you have roof over your head, or at least, like, it's like neglecting what you're going through, because yes, I'm grateful for what I have, but that doesn't mean that what I'm going through doesn't still matter or counts, or it's less than, or I shouldn't feel this way because thank God I have a roof under my head. That's not right. So
True.
going through that, and realizing that even my friends, the advice they were giving me is what they grew up knowing, right? They just like, oh, it will pass, oh, it's because this is this, so once you get the job you want, you'll be okay, oh, once you get through this, like, it was that the vague stuff we are told, and that's not what you want to hear at that time. So it wasn't like they they didn't know how to support me, because we were both not sure what the hell I was going through or the right way to go about it. So
Okay.
as I was learning journey and discovering my depression and doing my own research, I realized that I needed to create that space where people can just share without being feeling guilty about expressing how they feel, regardless of how much money you have in the bank, or
For sure. Right.
a good job or a house, just sharing it. So that's how the advocacy came about.
Nice. Sambaza, you want to address our comments?
Yes.
Oh my God, Raphael is in the comments.
Right. We have Ed Campbell saying peace and one love family. Am I allowed to curse? Yes, you are allowed. Denise is here. As you know, Denise was here last week. With me
Yes.
spectrum, the episode regarding spectrum and how to treat the kids and how to treat the spectrum. On how to, how to take care of your kids. And Raphael, welcome to the show. And he says, hello, folks. Welcome again,
Okay.
and glad to have you all here today to share this story from Paula.
So we were talking about mental health and like how, because we've actually had a prior episode about mental health, and so this is something that we definitely want to keep the conversation going with our community. I think many of us grew up in families telling us what happens in this house stays in this house, and those type of conversations. But we have grown up, and now we are a little bit more emotionally intelligent, and so we know that there's value in seeking therapy. Share about how you feel about seeking therapy to treat individuals who may be experiencing depression or some other mental health concern?
Okay. First, I want to say something that you touched on. Most of us, the part about growing up in families, I am grateful. Thank God. And it's funny because my dad has only one brother, and his brother has two kids. My dad had two kids at the time. Now I have a younger brother, but that side of the family grew up where stays in the house kind of thing, like,
Mm-hmm.
in our culture, like we have this, our tribe is called the highest, Wahaya. So we have this high quality of life that we have to present, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, or anything that's done that is not like expelled from school or doing drugs or being alcoholic or any of that gets swept under the rug. Nobody has to know. And then you come to my this family with my dad, where it was very different. I'm grateful that I grew up in a house that my dad allowed us to be very vocal, maybe too much vocal. And uh, I was a very outspoken person, so there was nothing like being hidden under the rug. And I was a very emotional child, so my feelings really, like, when my feelings need to be heard, they're gonna be heard, regardless of what you say. So even when I came out with depression, the first thing I after reaching out to my mom, I called my dad, and because I knew I wanted to start going on Instagram and doing lives and talking about my story. But also, I was also a government child, and our last name back home had, it was involved in the government. So there's certain things as well you have to be very careful when you come online and share, because it can get used. But my dad was still like, do what you gotta do. If you need to share it to the world, and share your story, that's what's gonna heal you, do it. So I'm grateful for that. But as far as therapy goes, I am a big 100% therapy supporter. Like, and I was having this conversation with my ex, and I literally had to convince him to go to therapy, and he finally had a breakthrough, and he was very excited. But I tell people, even like when you're dating and you feel like you're gonna get married, you should do couples therapy. Like, I'm a firm believer in therapy, because people assume that you need to go there once you're already broken, but it's also not. You don't need to be broken to go there. You sometimes it's allowing yourself to open the path, because we don't know, we are all broken, but we also don't know how much we're broken. And certain times we get in the way of ourselves, and that's how we cause our mental health, like our anxieties, our depression. Sometimes we are the cause of that, because of being on staying in our own way, right? All this being in our mind, and believing certain things that we don't, and that's from trauma, right? That's from either childhood trauma or teenage trauma, or if you went to boarding school, some of us have boarding school traumas. So that's traumas, and sometimes you get triggered in the wrong time and space, and until you deal with that, you're always gonna be on your own way, because there's certain things you'll be like, I can do this because of this, but that's a belief you have had in your head because of the trauma. So having a counselor, whether it's a first of all, I don't think you should have a coach unless you have gone to therapy, because a coach can help you to certain level. Therapy is all different things, and I know we these days everybody is a coach. There's so many coaches over there. Nothing against the coaches; they're very important as well in your journey. But therapy is very different, and I think most of us need therapy. Like, whether you think you do need therapy or not, most of us we need therapy. Maybe that's the reason the world will be better if we all did take therapy. But then I have different opinions on medicine, because I have had a different reaction. My body gets addicted to medicines real quick, like to certain stuff. That's why I try to avoid certain things. And when I was living in UK, I'm much better now, but I really had big sleeping issues. And I remember, shout out to Raphael, one time he even asked me, he was like, do you even sleep? Like, when you even, if you really watch me, you wonder, like, what time does this person sleep? Because I'm constantly awake. So I started taking sleeping pills, and I feel like I was abusing them because I was relying on them. Because anytime I wanted to sleep, I was popping a sleeping pill. I wasn't even trying to give myself to figure out if I can do it by myself without the sleeping pills. So I got addicted to the extent they stopped working. I drink a lot of Red Bull. They don't help me. They don't give me energy. They don't do anything because they've been so used to my body. I drink them for the taste. I really crave the taste of Red Bull, and that's why I drink them. So that's why I'm against medicine. And I've also seen people where they over rely on medicine, like once they get off their ADHD or their
Mhm.
anxiety medicine, they can't
Mhm.
function without it, right? So I never want to be to that extent where even therapy, there's some people who literally can't make decisions without calling their therapy or discussing it to their therapy. So I think there's that line where you need to know, like, okay, medicine shouldn't be your babysitter. It's supposed to help
Okay.
you, but it shouldn't be like I can't function without them. But I've seen it far less with therapy, and I've seen therapy work more compared to medicine because there's some people stay on medicine for 5 6 years. It's a process to get out of it again. So I will always recommend therapy if therapy doesn't work for you. And the thing is, people give up on therapy so quick because they try one therapist, he didn't work out, and they're done. But therapy
Mhm.
is like dating. Like if you've ever done online dating or anything, or even in business, right? Like right now we are podcasters, we look for sponsorships. We're not going to accept any sponsorship that comes to us if it doesn't align with your brand or anything. Even though you want the money or you want sponsorships, you're not going to take it. You're not going to run ads that you don't agree with or stand by just because to run ads, right? You shop around. So therapy is the same. You have to shop around until you find the one that you can understand. Of course, if you're a black person and then you go to a white therapist, there's certain issues they're not going to understand, right?
Yes.
So, but then if you go there and then you say, "Oh, I'm done with therapy, it didn't work for me," but when you look at it, like you are setting yourself for failure. Like I'm a black person, of course I'm gonna go to a black person. I'm gonna if I'm not religious, I'm not gonna look for a religious therapy because they're gonna be preaching me in Bible ways or in ways that I won't understand because I'm not religious. If I'm spiritual, I'm gonna look for a spiritual therapist. So it's all about shopping and finding the right person. It's gonna take a while, but once you find the right therapist, I am a big believer in therapy.
Agreed.
And
Um,
Sambaza?
yeah, I was gonna ask Paula, because when you talk about families who are growing up as an African, uh, that has another aspect to it because, like you said, and I think still moves in the same perspective in the African American community, whereby you say what's is said out here stays at home. Um, and the stigma that people have when you say, "Oh, I'm going through therapy." There's still that idea of therapy being embraced in our society today. Um,
Even
how?
sorry, 1 minute. Even when you
Mhm.
hear couples saying, "Oh, we are going to couples therapy," they start like, "What's wrong with y'all? Are y'all breaking up?" Like, why does it have to be a negative going to count? We can be our best version, but because we want to keep being better, why not?
Right now, for you, you've also explained a couple of things. One, you're a government. I'll call you a government baby, but you're government linked. And then there's also the part that you did go to boarding school. There's the fact that you also had to live alone at some point in time, right? We all have that aspect of having to, there's also the abandonment situation and all what comes up. Now, um, how has this realization, as you go through your journey of therapy, because I think therapy doesn't end, therapy is continuous. How have you grown from that point where you realize, okay, these are the segments that have caused or may have caused, because I'm not sure, I'm not a therapist, but they may have caused this feeling in my life. I'll call it a feeling. This feeling in my life right now. How has that made you a better person than where you were before?
Oh my God, that's a very intense question, but because and that's what made me realize after therapy, right? I realized why people don't really want to go to therapy, because fuck, I realized that I was toxic. And we are constantly pointing fingers at people like, you're toxic, you're so toxic. And then it's different when somebody tells me, like, if you tell me, oh, Paula, you're toxic, I'll be like, yeah, whatever, we are all toxic. But me personally, like you personally realizing that, shit, I'm fucking toxic, right? That is a whole different different feeling, and having to come to terms with that. And I used to pride myself, and this is where my identity was. I used to pride myself as I am such a good friend. Like, that was my identity. Like, Paula is a fucking good friend. I would tell that to everybody. But therapy, like really digging down, and even though I come from a very good childhood, like I did not have to worry about anything. My dad, God bless him, did an amazing job raising me, making sure I have everything, making sure I can always talk to him or anything. And sometimes when you grow up with that, you think that you don't have daddy issues or you don't have childhood trauma, right? Because you're like, well, I had a good childhood. Like, why should I be traumatized or anything? But then I also forgot that a child of divorce, right? And in Africa back in that days, people didn't discuss divorce like that, right? Like, you just they're so used to that parents stay together even though this marriage is not healthy. Like, we always know, kids, we always know our parents are arguing, fighting, it's not healthy. You know that, but you'd rather still have your parents together. But that's also in America, right? People cry about their parents divorcing even when they're grown as women. Like, you see a 30-year-old crying, my parents are getting divorced. Okay. Mine got divorced when I was 13, or whatever age I was. At that time, I'm grateful. Our parents did ask us if we wanted to go. We wanted to go to counseling to deal with that, but me and my brother were like, nope. Um, but then I didn't realize how much that I interfered with my own relationships and dating history until I was in therapy. I didn't realize much what's the word I'm looking for? Animosity, or how much hatred, not really hatred, but kind of feelings I had for my mother, because me and my mother don't have that good relationship. And because I grew up as a tomboy, and there's certain, whenever it comes to my mom, me and my mom's relationship, I pretend like it doesn't bother me, or I don't care or anything, until I went to therapy and I had to unpack that. Um, and it also just made me realize that I am a good person, but I am not a good friend. I am not as I thought. And I had issues that I needed to deal with that I didn't think I had. So it's a tough journey realizing that, but it made me more aware and more understanding and more empathetic, even though I thought I was those things. But and less judgment. I still judge, and that's human nature. We all judge, even whether you want to judge or not. It comes naturally. The first reaction, we judge. But I've become more understanding. Like, even when I talk to people, I try to hear them out before responding. I used to be the person who just responds to argue or responds to. Whenever somebody brings up something, I feel attacked. Right now, I respond. Like, I read, I understand, I respond. If I'm not yet ready to have the conversation, I chill. Like, there's certain things which I've really grown and tools, and I don't think it would have ever been possible without therapy.
And Paula, you mentioned the part about being a good friend, and you had always felt that you were a good friend. Why do you say that you weren't being a good friend?
So because I thought I was a good friend, I had these idealizations in me of, because if I'm doing so and so as a friend, and and so as a friend is not doing the same, those expectations and all those things. So I became very judgmental towards certain things, or I would do certain things, and then if it's not reciprocated the way I want it, instead of understanding that that's not who they are, that's just because I want it or I am this way doesn't mean they have to be that way. So I just realized that I was holding friends in a standard, and I was holding certain things against them that weren't their fault necessarily, because that's not who they are. So just because I expect it doesn't mean that. And at that time, I was I also realized that I had too much expectation on my friends, which meant if they didn't meet that expectation, my care towards them becomes lesser. It doesn't mean it stops, it just becomes lesser. I cross them out in a way that wasn't so friendly. So that's why I said I'm a good person, but I wasn't a better friend. I needed to do a better job at being a better friend, instead of putting my expectations to them and just allowing them to be who they are, and me choosing either I accept that or I don't, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. Sambaza, you want to touch on some of the comments that we
Oh,
have?
yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah. So Ralph is of the White Label
I mean, we know,
American
Ralph, you didn't
podcast.
have to say that. We knew your picture over there says it, but okay, go on.
So he says this is his channel, and he'd like to introduce us to the White Label American podcast. You guys should go listen to this podcast. It's a very good podcast. He also talks about boarding school. Oh, he agreed. Sorry, we missed that part. We agree 100% about couple therapy. We have to go before marriage. Now, boarding schools, yes, get so many people traumatized. That's the first beginning. That's the beginning of first denial for many of us. And I think, Jen, we have gone through boarding school, and that's the reason why we kind of agree to this. It's a go to boarding. Yeah, I did go to boarding school.
I didn't know that.
It's a
and
standard.
and that's the thing. What you are there, you really don't realize how traumatizing it is, because you feel like you're having fun, or you're just in that moment, and then once you leave and really dig in, you're like, yo, that was traumatizing. Like
Right.
certain
Yeah.
things.
There were certain things that happened there that were really traumatizing. And Denise is right. Well, Ralph told you, Red Bull is no medicine. Or Denise says right. There's a lot of processes. There's a lot to process when you're unpacking all these feelings and memories. It is scary. Yes, I agree with you. Yes. And I think this was in response to your last question. Said great question. And Ralph said, "Well, this is not my channel, bro." Well, hey, good questions. We ask you to be interactive, so we can actually also ask some questions too. We can ask the our guest here, Paula. So go ahead, Paula. I think I have a question next. I'm going to ask regarding regarding this. Um, what do you think are the biggest misconceptions people have about mental health, and how do you work to address it? Now, we've already talked about the misconceptions in an African perspective. Now, there's a general where everybody has this misconception, and how are we going to be able to address it going forward?
The biggest one, and which I hate because I was constantly told, is you are always happy and smiling. How the hell can you be depressed? Like, boy, I am tired of that misconception. And I always say this. I mean, look at Avicii, look at Robbie Williams, look at most of the people who have committed suicide. They were rich, they had money, right? Because sometimes they say, oh, if you just had money, your problems will be gone. They had money, they still killed, they committed suicide. They were constantly showing up on social media, and I think also this, the conception of, oh, because I posted on social media I should be okay, right? Like, bruh, I could be in my bed under the sheets in the darkest moment, and maybe I'm posting a good memory because I'm reflecting like, oh my god, I wish I could be time where I was happy, right? So I'm sharing that to the world. or just me being on social media is one of my therapy while right now I'm down. And us assume whenever we are posting things, it's what we are doing right there. Some of my pictures that I post on social media are pictures I took last month, 2 months ago, and I post them now. So content, right? When you always have to collect content and you use it when you use it. Because sometimes I can be in my house for a month, I haven't gone out, but because anytime I go out, I create as much content in case I don't go out again in for a whole month so that I can have. So this notion of, oh, because they was on social media, or because they are happy or they look happy, they must be okay, it is a lie. And I feel like also the question like, are you okay? I really hate that question because of course people are gonna say, yeah, I'm good, I'm okay. I feel like people need to have more deeper conversations with people. I read people and I can tell when people are not really feeling well, or when they kinda are not okay. Because I read social media, like I have this thing where I read more than supposed to be. I'm an overthinker. I'm a Cancer. It's a whole problem over there. So there's certain things to me I notice because I'm that way, but not everybody has that. So I think we should be more aware on our friends, or on the people around us, and stop asking, "Are you okay?" If you ask, "Are you okay?" everybody's gonna say, "Yes, I'm okay." No, I'm not okay. They like have tell people to tell you how they're doing or what's going on in their life, and then read through the lines of how they respond to that question. So I think we need to do more of checking in on people. And I'm not talking about social media. I'm talking like, Bridget, we have phones for a reason, people. Like text your friends, call your friends. It's like this days, oh, because Jen posted on social media, oh, she did a live, so I know she's okay. I don't need to call her. She's good. Like, come on.
No,
But
but
yeah,
people do say that though. Like, oh, I saw you posting, or they say, oh, I ain't seen you posting.
and that's the thing. They forget that also on social media we have all these tools. Certain posts are scheduled, right? There's some people schedule their posts. So you might think just because it shows I posted 10 minutes ago, that shit was scheduled for a whole week. Like, I have post scheduled for a whole week. Doesn't mean that's how I am right now. So I think we need to slow down. We live in this world where constantly moving, and we think we are so busy that picking up a phone to call somebody is, we don't have that time in our, or we have to schedule it, and we shouldn't be living a life like that. Like, we need to slow down.
True, true, true.
But that's my biggest misconception. What about y'all? I want to hear from y'all. What would you say one of the misconceptions you guys have come across?
I think you touched on it. Part where they say you're okay. Um, that really, when you're being asked, "Are you okay?" But I'm going to be on the fence on this one because at what point are you being intrusive, and at what point are you giving the other person privacy? Yet, because it's a point where some people are, when they're backing off from you, you kind of feel like that's who they are, and then that's what they give you, and you're not sure whether you can cross that line where I'm going to be now asking you the questions: "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I think there's where the fine line lies, to where we're not sure. So if Paula, you are a very private person from the get go, and you don't talk, I mean, I can call you, and you'll be so, like, you're matter of fact on your call, right? You're not the person I want to call every other time. And I guess when you post on social media and say, "Hey, I'm okay," I'll be like, "Yeah, she's okay," because she's posting on social media. But if I call you and we have these great conversations all the time, I feel like you've let me into your world, and you can have this moment, these moments together at that point. So I can pick up the phone and call you. It doesn't matter. But then also, if you're a person who backs off all the time, I'll be like, "Hey, I can't do it." And one thing about mental health, it's really, really dicey. I think people need to watch this movie. I'd recommend anyone who's watching this live or listening, The Maid. It's a Netflix movie. it'll kind of give you an understanding of how mental health is on a person and how it can affect you just by you being there. um it experiences, it goes through an experience of somebody on how they go about their life and how mental health affects them. So that's my take on the misconceptions.
And I hear that, and
Mhm.
and that part of backing away, right? Um, my thing is because I sometimes also in the beginning I had a friend who used to do that, and I would get so mad at them, and then later I became that friend who sometimes I just really need to step back and just be by myself, like ignore calls, text, everything. But then I realized that when I do that, so I let my people know that yo, I'm taking like I'm gonna be away for a few minutes. I reach out when I'm ready. Like don't bother me, don't call me. So it's all about information, but also if you feel like when if you have these friends who you're constantly calling and they don't share, or you always have good conversations but you don't go there, that's where you either maybe they haven't felt safe enough to share, not safe enough to, because people when it comes to be talking about their problems, we have been accustomed to a world where it's so judgmental and not appreciative, and we all have different histories. Sometimes when you share with people, they use it against you, or they go tell other people, it becomes gossip, it becomes, so people have been guarded, right? And even social media, sometimes you see people literally crying for help on social media, and then they get attacked for that, like, oh, why are you coming to cry on social media, who's going to help? Maybe they don't have close people to cry to, or maybe they don't know how to reach out to their close friends, so they're hoping their close friends can see it on social media and reach out, because everybody has a different way of asking for help. That's what I'm saying, it's more about being aware, like, when their attitudes are changing, or so people don't really have to come and tell you I'm not okay. Sometimes you can tell, oh my god, she used to show up 6 times a day, and now she shows up twice a day. That will be an alarm, right? And also just by just assuring your people, like, hey, if you ever need anything to talk about, I got you. Hey, if you ever, just so that they can know. Because sometimes we assume that, oh, because we are good friends, or because I speak on mental health, my friend will reach out to me when their mental health is. But why would I reach out to you even if I know you talk about mental health? Oh, I know you're my friend, but you have never once told me you can come to me, or you can talk to me, or I'm here for you.
That's a good point. That's definitely a good point. And like you mentioned with the social media thing, just like how people watch those happy posts, or you're out and you're socializing posts, those cryptic kind of, I don't want to say weird posts, but maybe just cryptic or, odd, out of character type of posts. Maybe pay attention to those too. I've, even have, being in a particular mood, and you may post something or share something just kind of reflective of that mood that you're in. And, maybe someone may need to check on you.
Exactly. And,
Mhm.
and and sometimes even if somebody went out and you saw them out, you don't know how much it took them to actually be there, or why they actually ended out there. Just because I'm out dancing doesn't mean I'm happy. Could be, because I've been forced that this is my friend, I had to show up. Sometimes we do have to show up to certain things even if we don't want to, right?
Right.
So
Mhm.
Okay, Sambaza, we have some questions.
we sure
Mm,
So
do.
catch up here.
all right, let's catch up here. Ralph says boarding schools are responsible for many Africans, Asians, and more are still in denial. We can't refuse to acknowledge traumatic events that happened over there, which ties to family and belief.
I
Yes,
think I think we'll need to have a whole session about boarding schools, cause
yes. There's a lot of things to unpack right there. Now, Ed Campbell asks questions. I think we'll have to go back for them time after time. The first one he says is, "What are the signs that one needs mental health support, aka therapy,
So
in your experience?
for me, I believe you can advise somebody to go to therapy. Again, I say everybody needs therapy. So even you, Ed, you need therapy. So we all need therapy. You can advise somebody, but you can't force somebody to go to therapy. Just like how you can't. I'm a person who I'm not gonna force God on you or my beliefs on you, because you have to get there by yourself. Because therapy only works if you yourself are willing to go and actually participate. Because you can go to therapy, but if you're going to therapy and you're not really participating, then you're just gonna happen. So you need to be willing to say, you know what, I'm gonna go to therapy and I'm gonna participate. So everybody needs therapy. And what are the signs that one needs mental health support? I feel like when you just see people's moods change, like I am a very high functioning person. Everybody who knows me talks about my high energy and everything. Like even when I'm at Podfest, literally I'm constantly on 100. So even when I'm just drained a bit and I just need to chill to get my energy out, when people see me, they're like, "What's wrong with you? Are you okay? Who pissed you off? Who hurt you? Like why?" Just because my energy is gone, like I'm just like chilled and relaxed, trying to up my energy. So watch out if you see somebody who was never going out so much, now suddenly is going out too much. Somebody who used to like to eat now is not eating. Like there all those signs that show somebody who's constantly not answering their phone or responding when they used to be quick on that. Somebody who's
Mm.
either posting too much or not posting. And especially when, if people are posting too much on social media, especially when they're posting so much quotes or throwback, because I know when I'm in my depression mode, I post a lot of throwback pictures to kind of take me back to a time where I was happy, like my happy place. So just look at those. Those are all signs of somebody's needs some support.
That's interesting about the throwbacks. Okay, I never thought about it that way.
I told you I'm a person who pays legit attention. Like there was one time um two of my friends I just saw disappear. Like I didn't see anything. And sometimes it's the algorithm. And I went and searched and I saw they didn't post a while and one deactivated. And for the past that entire week, something was telling in me like, you need to text this person, you need to text this person, you need to text. And that day I texted and I people, and all of them were going through shit. One of them deactivated the account, and we had our call, and they were going through so much. And they're like, "How did you know, Paul?" I'm like, I have this intuition where something always just, and I pay attention. When I literally pay attention on social media, I pay attention to not just what you're posting or what you're writing. And even that's why sometimes when people send me messages, I try not to respond if something triggers me, because I overread on a message. Like I will read, like just
Yes, true. Well, do you have this? I don't know if you have an answer to this. What are the signs of depression? What when you look at somebody? Well, I don't know how
to
to
be
put it, but
honest,
yeah.
I can't. The thing is, it's different for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say with mental health, I might have, and that's why I love having these conversations and hearing about people's journeys and what helps them. Because what helps you might not help me. What might help me, what might not help you. What my depression is could probably be like, oh, I don't get that. I feel this is. So for me, I can speak only on me. Things is I always
Go back.
darkness, darkness. Like I will wake up and I will just feel darkness. And when I feel that, I will just want to stay in my bed. I won't want to be on my phone, do anything. So for me, it starts with just darkness. And I even spoke about this in my latest episode. It's a blessing and a curse, but I also have this thing that wake up where my heart feels very heavy and very black. You know, we are taught that the heart is red, right? But and we are taught that black is darkness. Black is everything bad, right? So I wake up my heart feeling so black. and with this sadness where I'm just crying and I don't know what I'm crying. I don't know what's going on. Like and and even though I have issues in my life, but it's not the time. Like I just wake up feeling that way. And something always bad happens when I wake up like that. And people used to not believe me. And then I started sharing it. Like whenever I would wake up, and it recently happened. I woke the day I was going to Miami actually. I woke up feeling that way, and I called my ex and I called my mom, and I was like, something's not right. Like I'm feeling this, and I'm just crying, and I don't know what's going on. And they're like, you're about to go to Miami. You're gonna be with your girls. Be happy, whatever. I was like, that's the thing. I should be excited. I'm going to Miami. But then also, I was going for a funeral as well. But it was just, and it did not last. That was on Thursday. On Sunday, shit happened, and I called again my ex and my mom, and I was like, so guess what happened? This, and they're like, oh fuck, you actually. I was like, people never believe me, so I tried to share it these days, and then when either somebody's gonna die, or I wake up to a death news, or like something is gonna happen whenever I wake up feeling like that. So my depression always comes with darkness. That's my sign. I don't know about everybody else who has depression.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you for sharing that. It's very personal to share. So I appreciate you being honest with us and our community here. Sambaza, there was one more.
Now that question is loaded. What do you mean when you say government child? Okay, I'll put it like this. This is when somebody's connected, highly connected in the government. That's why we call a government child.
No,
That's what it is.
it's not even highly connected. It's just that your parents work for the government, okay? And
And what does that mean? Connection.
not the government like police or anything, but high positions in the government, okay? That's the government child. Being
That's
connected,
like daughter of a vice
being connected is
president,
just
daughter of the major general of the
be,
police, daughter
be,
of like.
like that. Being connected just means you're privileged. That's all. It's not a government child. You don't need to be a government child to be connected.
Okay. I wondered that too. And I said, you know what? I'm going to leave that alone. I was
She's
like,
being modest,
yeah, okay. That's okay. That's what she's
and I
comfortable
appreciate
sharing.
that. And I
That's what
appreciate
she's comfortable sharing. So I appreciate that.
I mean,
Um,
it's just simple. That's why these days I'm trying to go by Paula Sima. I'm trying to drop the Mulamula name because
okay.
I am seeing that now I'm getting more deeper into this world of speaking my shit and being too personal with my life and everything. So I'm trying to drop the Mulamula name. But
Okay.
it's so funny when you go Google me. As long as you have a podcast, you are officially Googleable. Because back in the days, I used to really want to say, "Go Google me, bitch," and then I eventually Googled myself because my last name is very much on Google.
Okay.
So I think Ralph summed it well. Government child equals to child or senior civil servant
In
involved.
Paula's case,
Not him putting Paula on blast in the comments. Okay.
That's
Thanks,
Ralph.
Ralph.
Thank you.
thank you, dictionary. I don't think we'll be buying this dictionary.
Oh boy. Okay. So let's see. We talked. Oh, okay. I think it's back on me. So we talked about, how you are a great proponent of therapy and, medication you feel, should be as needed and not necessarily a requirement and things like that. Why is it so important to you to raise awareness for mental health, having these conversations? It's a theme on your podcast. It's something that you basically carry, throughout this podcast community. So why is that so important?
A sense of belonging, right? Growing up, I was a tomboy. Now imagine being a tomboy in Africa, right? In Tanzania. So I used to have so many friends who were guy friends. My grandmother Reggie told my dad, get pregnant before she's 21, because the idea of a girl hanging out with boys means she's gonna get pregnant. Like, you can't just. So I think she lost that bet, because I'm gonna be 35, and I'm not no child yet. So I think I did well, maybe too well in that case. But I used to be a tomboy, and then I'm a short girl. I'm loud. I have short hair. What is this going on? Sorry, sorry. So, I'm very opinionated and not caring so much. So I never felt I belong anywhere, right? When I went to the hot girl session, I was not a hot girl. I never saw myself as a hot girl, because most of them were either thin and tall, and they did their hair and makeup. I've always liked shortcut. I don't do makeup. I didn't feel like I could fit in. So everywhere, I've never felt like I belonged. And that's why, until today, my dad is like, when I was graduating, I was like, if I ever throw you a graduation party, I don't know what hall I will get, because I know so many people. I had to befriend everybody. Like, I have friends who are in their 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s. I have friends in every corner, because I never knew where I belong. So I talked to everybody. That way, I can always have people to go to. So when I started depression, and finding and feeling this way, that that sense came back again, like, oh my god, now if I come out and share that I'm depressed, because if you have mental health, you look like you're crazy, right? Oh, you're crazy. Mental health used to seem like, cuckoo crazy. So I was like, oh my god, where am I gonna belong now? And when I decided to start the Life with Paula movement, and I started speaking up, um, I created a WhatsApp group, because I didn't want to be alone, right? And then all these friends of mine started joining. And then I found out one of my favorite cousin, and she talks to me about everything. I found out, and this is the other thing, because again, her family, she's part of that, my dad's side of the family, where they hide things under the rug. You don't talk about them. But I found out she had tried to kill herself, and she failed. They caught her too early, and she started doing therapy and everything. And that was so painful to me, because before that as well, I found out she got raped. So that was when I realized how important it is to raise awareness, because people do want to share their stories, people do want to talk, people do want to heal, but they don't have those safe places to do that. They haven't found those safe places to do that. And that's the reason also, when I started my podcast, I said I wanted it to be a safe space for people to share their stories without being crucified, without being, that way they can, somebody out there can listen and know they're not alone, and and find comfort, and find somewhere they belong. So in order to allow people to share, you need to constantly share, right? You can't come to my safe space if you haven't had my story, if you haven't had me share anything. like like, how can you feel safe if you don't know my story, you don't see me talking about it, you don't see me advocating for it? How would you think you're safe with me? So I feel like, because of that, that was the reason for me to pioneer about it, to share my story, to create this community where people belong with their mental health struggles.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad that you did that, Sambaza.
Yes. Now, Paula, you did have, owing to your podcast, I want to say you have a great podcast, and it has space for people letting themselves out. And we saw this come out true to form when you were at the Afros and Audio last year. That was 2023. You were sitting in a panel with other advocates for mental health. And that came out very well. as you created a safe space for them to talk about their mental health journey or what they were doing in terms of mental health, and to encourage others in their mental health journeys. Now, with that in mind, can you share with us the importance of support systems for individuals living with mental health and their challenges? If you can discuss the role of the family, friends, and mental health professions in providing that support as well.
Oh my God, very important. I feel like us as human beings, we always crave support regardless of what we're doing, right? Like,
Mhm.
look at us with our podcasting, how we are constantly complaining about lack of support, especially from our friends and family. So, but with mental health, there's nothing as important as support. And I tell people a lot. I used to judge people who would contemplate suicide, right? Until I came to that place where I contemplated suicide. And I tell people I understand why certain people end up doing it, because I am grateful I have the support I have with my dad and my family and friends. Like, I know even if I didn't have family or friends or anything, like, I know me killing myself will kill my dad. That man loves me so much and has created every space for me to be able to go to him with anything, regardless of whatever, for me to actually kill myself before going to him. So that will kill him, because I know that will make him feel like he has failed me. So knowing that I haven't suicide, but that doesn't mean there haven't been times where I've contemplated it. So those people who don't have that support when they're contemplating suicide, they don't have that feeling like, oh, my dad's gonna miss me, or I'm gonna make this person feel this way, right? Because they don't have that support. So support is really important, and that's why even right now, when I started knowing I was dealing with mental health, I knew I couldn't do it by myself. That's why I started Life with Paula. That's why I created community, because I knew I needed people. They needed me. We needed each other, and we helped each other, and we grew each other. And even when I started my podcast, every community that I've joined, I've made sure to show up as me and to share my story that way, and I think when most of us, when we join communities, right, we just join and we say we are part of community, but we don't get intentional with getting to know the members of community. So you can belong to a community, but in order for people to be a support to you, you need to intentionally know people and show up. So I show up, I intentionally know people, and anytime I'm dealing with my mental health, it's those groups. And sometimes they're not legit mental health support. Like, I have empowered some members from Empowered Podcasting Group. I have some members from Podmatch. Like, Alex would literally send me voicemails on Facebook praying for me. And it will be on a day where I really needed that prayer. And he just would say, I woke up today and God told me to pray for you. And again, this is how people are aware, because he watches my pages, and he can tell when I'm not okay or when I'm not. He sends me prayer. I have the community connect people. Most of them are in Canada. I have all these communities that I've joined. Podfest itself, Afros, there are specific people who have intentionally gotten to know where I share, and they come through for me on days when I'm really low and I really need that. And God knows, if I didn't have these communities, the support of these communities, I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. So communities and support from communities are very important, but you also have to be intentional with getting to know the members, and also showing up as yourself. Nobody can support you if they don't know what you're going through. Just like me, I say, how is somebody going to offer me a job if I'm not constantly shouting, I need a job, I'm jobless, right? It's not like somebody's just going to say, hey, there's a job here for you. No, you gotta tell people. How am I going to make money or get deals if I'm not constantly saying, I'm broke, I need money, I need to make money, right? Because sometimes people are like, oh, you have to stop saying you're broke. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna stop saying I'm broke. I'm gonna keep saying I'm broke, so more opportunities can come, so that I don't keep being broke. Like, that's my motto. But so if you join these communities, you have to tell people what you're struggling with, who you
Mhm.
are, let people know so they can know how to support you. And I also always tell people, and we had this discussion in Empowered, it was about inclusivity and Black, right? And Crystal had brought up a good statement about I shouldn't be teaching you, there's certain things like I can't constantly keep educating you or teaching you on how to treat me. So just like how um when we hear our friend has cancer or something, we Google for the information of that cancer, right? We sometimes go look, find support groups, we go to learn how to support our friends who have those diseases. So with mental health, just do that as a friend or as a family. If that person hasn't told you how they want you to support them, because maybe they don't know and they're still figuring it out, you can Google. If I tell you I'm depressed, you can go to Google and Google about depression, what not, what to expect, the signs, so you can watch out. You can find me support groups and be like, hey, instead of this Sunday us going to brunch, let's go check out this support group, right? So that
Okay. Right. Right.
the thing is, we always feel like we always have to go to brunch or anything or all this stuff, but there are other ways we can spend time while also connecting and pouring onto each other. So go to each other's support groups as family or friend. Sometimes me myself, sometimes I don't know how to be supported, and literally last month, or was it 2 months ago, I was really exhausted and I wrote on Facebook. I was emotionally drained and I was literally checking out. My friends called me and they're like, how can we support you? And that's the best way to ask somebody, because sometimes we assume this is how somebody wants to be supported, but the best way you can support is just ask them, how do I support you? And if they are close to you, go and just sit with them. Sometimes, you don't have to plan something, just show up at their house and sit with them, bring them food, because probably they're not eating. You can Uber
Mm.
Dash or DoorDash or delivery for them. You don't need to be there. So all these signs they'll tell you, and just show support. Send a card, send a note, write a lovely text message, or send memes, because they're gonna need to laugh. Memes really help. I mean, right now
Right.
with the Kendrick and the Drake battle going on, if your friend is dealing with mental health, send her the memes of Kendrick and Drake right now. Trust me, she's going to be appreciative. Sometimes it's the little things, because we overthink on ways like, oh my God, she has depression. How do I show up? But it's really the little things. People just want to know that you care and you are there for them. And that's it.
I love that. Sambaza, you want to take on some of the comments?
Sure.
We'll
Here's some comments
go.
here. Tiffany Bird says Tiffany Bird Bhakti says mental well-being is important and necessary.
Amen.
People judge others' situation because they are on the outside looking in. We need to provide grace to all, even those who don't understand. Everyone's struggle is different.
True.
And Ed Campbell says, check on your strong friends, the ones who are always happy and taking care of everyone.
Mm.
Taking care taking care. Everyone they have a lot they are dealing with also, but often hide their feelings or hoard their feelings. Sorry, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
hold, but often hold their feelings.
And that's so
Um,
true. To add on the ed thing,
mhm.
because I smile a lot, even when I'm sad. Like I will just smile. Like I can't help it. I'm always smiling. And I think because I went to hospitality school and we were taught to constantly be smiling even when we're angry with a customer. So and one thing I realized, right? I smile. I'm dealing with my darkness inside, right? If I have an angry face, gonna kill my entire mood and I'm gonna be angry. And I don't want that. So smiling is me trying to find the little positive out there. So that's why I will be out and I will smile. That way somebody else can smile to me. And when a stranger smiles at you because they see a smile, it warms up your heart for some reason. So I'm always saying
Mhm.
that I send out positivity because I have so much darkness that I need positivity back to clean out my darkness.
Now, Paula, I have one question that I want to throw in here. And I think this will tie back to Ed Campbell's first question. When do you know that you need therapy? We've had conversations with other individuals, and we've talked about, when you try and support somebody, and every time they're constantly going through that depression and they're telling you what they feel, and you're there to sit and understand them. Now I'm the other person on the other side, and you keep telling me all these problems that you're having and how you feel. It does become emotionally draining, and also at some point, then you feel like you have to run away from this person or not pick up their calls, because when they call you, like, oh, they're going to talk to me about how they feel, and they feel bad, and it turns out that it you definitely know where the story is going. Now, is that the point where you want to tell the person, hey, I think you need to seek professional help, because at this point, I may be a friend, I may be helping you, but you're also killing me. You know?
That to my friends all the time, and because I'm such a good listener, and again, this is a blessing in a chaos. A lot of people tell me that I'm so easy to talk to, that they open up about a lot of things, and then I end up kind of becoming their therapist without therapist. And I've told even my friends these days, like, if you're gonna keep me on the phone for more than 1 hour, you're gonna have to start paying me, because I ain't your therapist. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, but also, even my ex, who literally, whenever I would tell him like, you need therapy, he'll be like, why should I go to therapy? You're my therapist. I'm like, fuck no, I'm not your fucking therapist. I'm not here to listen to your problems 24/7, especially when they're around. And I am big. I am very big on boundaries. Boundaries is part of your mental health. So I have learned to put boundaries with fucking person in my life, including my dad. Sometimes I look at my dad and I'm like, "You're about to stress me right now. I ain't answering the call," and I literally like, "Right, I'm sorry, dad."
Shout out to boundaries. I like that.
But because I've had friends who and I hate when I will listen to your shit unless you're willing to work on it. And the first time, yes. The second time, yes. If it's constant, bitch, work on it or don't tell me about it, because I am tired to tell them. And even me and my friends these days, we give each other trigger warnings, right? If I just we just don't call it unless I really need to speak to you right now, then I will call you abruptly. But if it's something I really need to unpack, I text you. Hey, are you free for a call? This and this is going on. I need to talk. And both of us, even me when they text me, anybody who texts me that, I ask, are you looking to vent? Are you looking for advice? Are you looking to shit talk? Because most of us also, the thing we do is sometimes people just want to be heard. But we have a tendency when somebody is sharing what they're going through, we start inserting, oh my God, I also went through that, da da da, this is what I did. Or giving advice. They don't want, sometimes they don't want the advice. They just want to talk and just be heard, and that's it. So I ask so that I can prepare what you're looking for, because I go quickly on being like, yo, you were wrong there, you gotta do this and this, get it done. I'm quick on that. But I had to be aware that sometimes that's not what they're looking for. So once you tell me, if I'm in that space where I can literally listen to your shit, I'll tell you, call me. If I'm not, I'll legit tell you, listen, I'm so sorry you're going through this right now, but right now, I do not have the energy
Mm.
to
Okay.
receive whatever you're sharing. Check on you later. And that's okay. Boundaries. I am big. Like
Mm.
I legit tell people about. And if we are constantly talking about something and you haven't worked on it, and I don't see you're changing, I cut myself out of you until you figure that out. Because I do not have the capacity to constantly keep listening to your shit, especially when I am literally doing work on myself, and all you are doing is just talking about the same shit over and over, but not doing anything to deal with it.
That's a word. That is a word. And
Boundaries.
yes, that is a word for the day. Shout out to Bell.
Need to
I,
hashtag it.
I put my dad on boundaries too. Like, shit, I can't deal with you right now, Dad. I'm sorry. There's only one person who literally sometimes can cross my boundaries, but everybody else is on boundaries.
Yes. And Sambaza, you want to go for the last comment there?
Yeah, it's hard. Denise Bonfilin says it's hard to be vulnerable to others and relieve yourself of your burdens by talking to somebody about it. But it's also hard to be a listening ear and accept their burden. Yes, it's all yeah,
Mm,
give and
Yeah,
take.
both sides.
So
And
yeah,
that's why also you, if you're constantly listening to your friends shit and you're okay with that, then you either find other ways to unpack. Either you get yourself a therapy where you go unpack, or go smash some. You know, there's those smash rooms where you go and you just smash shit, right? That's a good for anger management. Like, go take out all your frustrations, your trauma over there. Trust me, it
uh,
helps.
and Tiffany also says here, boundaries are important to maintain your sanity. Being transparent with friends and family is a must to keep yourself mentally sane.
mm.
That is very, very powerful. Ah, Raphael of the White Label American podcast says, I don't subscribe to checking on strong friends because that's internet speak. Boundaries is a
Mhm.
must. We have to incorporate that. We have to incorporate it into our everyday living. Okay, I appreciate
Mhm.
that. Thank
Eh.
Okay, different strokes, you know. So,
You know
but
what? That's why I say I don't judge people. Whatever works for you, because at the end of the day, you have to live with your insanity or your sanity or your trauma. So if that's what helps you, then and you should do it without feeling shame or guilty. Like I tell people all the time, because I constantly unfollow people on social media. Like I have no shame in unfollowing you. I don't care if you're my family or my friend. If you are now posting shit that I do not want to see, that is killing my vibe, I am unfollowing. And I tell people, if I'm not your vibe, if I'm no longer something you want to see on your page, if I'm no longer a friend that you need, unfollow me, stop talking to me. I won't judge you, because you gotta do what's best for your mental health.
it's true. I love that. I love that. That's very authentic. And yeah, I think, that is some
And,
good advice.
but I want to add this, and it's funny because last year we did this episode on boundaries, and something that also came up is when it comes to boundaries, right?
you. Mhm.
It's very hard setting boundaries and telling your and bringing it to your friends and family, and most of the time people are going to have a hard time taking that in. And we all have those people, once you start making changes in your life, right, they're like, oh, she's now better than us, so she's acting brand new, or all those smacky comments. So when you start keeping those boundaries, people are gonna take it how they are, and we as people setting those boundaries have to understand that not everybody's gonna accept that, or take it as how we accept it, and that's okay, because sometimes we assume just because I created this boundary, Jen, you're supposed to accept it, which also ends up bringing a big, like, so I have to be in the head that Jen might not like it, but I'm open to having a conversation, and the person who's receiving the boundaries to also be like, this is not about me. If I'm that concerned, maybe have a conversation so we can come to a compromise, or just don't fuck with each other. So it's all
Okay.
on how you deliver and how the other person also accepts it.
Okay. Some buzzer comments here.
Yeah, we do have comments coming in. Tiffany Bird Bati says kudos to Paula for being true to you and providing a space and a safe space for others. Raphael also says most of us weren't taught about setting boundaries until we became adults. So it feels going against
Yeah.
default programming sometimes. Always
Mm.
remember that you are reprogramming your system into what works for you. That is
Eh,
something in the African. I don't know. Now, when we talk about when now this is the African context where you have to be always open to people. Bringing people. You can't back off. You have to be hospitable. I don't know, Jen.
We are
Do we
used to being welcoming. Karibu, karibu,
right,
karibu, karibu. And then
right,
we,
right,
we, we
right,
don't know how
okay.
to talk.
exactly. It is very rude to chase people away. I think even me growing up, it's very rude to
Mhm.
chase people away. So now that's where the boundaries you're not able to set up your boundaries correctly.
Mhm.
I don't know, Jen. Do
And
you
then,
have anything to share on your perspective on that?
No, I follow, I definitely follow that and I support that. So, no, please share, Paula. I think you had a thought.
no, I was just saying, we Ralph, what he said is true because um, even me coming from I'll say half African because my household was not totally African, but I still had family members and everything who were very, very, very African. We weren't taught about boundaries, but again, I did have a very too open relationship with my dad. Like there was no hiding, no nothing. Like legit, I can say that's my man. Like we talk about everything. But it took me, and I didn't know anything about keeping boundaries because I was the person who was literally breaking everybody's boundaries. I did not know anything about boundaries, and but it took me actually doing the work, going to therapy, and having learning and learning some shit, and having to grow and dig deep and work on all that shit to realize how much boundaries is important. And it actually also was because of my ex. We were going through such a weird phase in our life when I actually started going to therapy because of him. And then he is also my one of my best friends. So we were going through a breakup, but we also wanted to stay friends, and we had to, but we would always kind of cross the line in between because we didn't know how to be each other's friends without bringing up our own personal shit that we we were dealing with the breakup. So we had to learn how to put boundaries. Like, nope, you no longer have access to this side of my life. You only have access to this side. So it took a while. It took a while. I'm still learning. And the thing people forget about uh mental health, right? Even when I have all these tools and I'm constantly learning, my depression won't go away. It will always be with me. I'm just learning how to work with it and and make it work for me. So but when you go to therapy, you realize that you're constantly gonna have to be working on yourself because we're constantly growing, right? There's always gonna be new things, just like our podcast. Every day there are new things that we're implementing and learning, and we're like, oh my god, this is exhausting. What more is coming? So just like us as people, we are constantly growing, and we're gonna change and learn and sometimes you think you are really healed, and then a little trigger or a little memory, it takes you all the way back and you're like back to square one. So it's a process. uh Learning is growing and setting boundaries and therapy and all that. It's a continuous process that you need to work on. It's not a like, yeah, now I'm very perfect about making boundaries. No.
Okay.
I think we have the next few. Raphael says, "I have a right to say no, and others have a right to say no to me as well. It's not the end of the world. Set your boundaries and let the people call you names. They're jealous. TBH.
Yes.
This has been a great TG. All right. Tiffany Bird says, "Hey, those are what we call coping skills because, like I said,
Mhm.
you have the mental health and you're trying to deal with it and live around it. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's great, great. Love to hear from you, Raphael and Tiffany Party.
For hanging out with us, Ralph, and
Yeah,
sharing your input. I love
definitely.
having
Now,
engaging people. It just makes the conversation
I
even much more
know.
better.
And we are just, geeked about that. We got 6, 7 people in the chat at this hour on a particular day of the week. So we appreciate that.
People had to show up for Paula.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
yeah, so
Yes.
Paula, as we are concluding in the show, you have the podcast. Can you
Mhm.
tell us more about the podcast and know and like how many episodes are you running through right now, and where can we find you so that if somebody wants to hear, the feel good stories and then probably get resources from you, as you're one of the resources in a community to join, please share with us.
Yes. You would think being a podcaster and being a guest on so many podcasts, when it comes time to talk about your podcast, you'd be so good at it, and it's still like, oh, okay. So my podcast is called Talk Shit with P. Uh, as you can see, I don't, yeah, Talk Shit with P.
Hey.
uh, it's somebody asked me this last week on his show. Uh, do I call my podcast a mental health podcast? Like, what category would I put it in? And if you'd have asked me this question in season 1 and 2, it was legit mental health, because season 1, 2, I think until 3 was stories on mental health, like getting through cancer, Black Lives Matter, COVID, and I had my dad come in and share about being a girl dad. I had my mom for Mother's Day. I had my sister share about postpartum. She had a COVID baby. I had my brother who was a recovering drug addict, came and shared his story. So it was really mental health stories and how they go through it and everything. And then come 2022, when I went to Podfest, we rebranded. Shout out to Travis Brown, who helped me rebrand and gave me that idea. And we niched down because mental health was so broad and I was getting exhausted because there's so many stories, right? And I just didn't feel like I had a theme because my stories were from cancer to this to this. So I realized, because I love the creative world and I'm taking it serious, because when you start your podcast, you're never sure about what you're doing. So you don't want to really invest as much until you know if you really enjoy doing it and want to do it. So at that time I was like, oh my God, I love podcasting. This is the world I want to be in. I'm happy here. So I rebranded and I niched down to where now Talk Shit with P became a safe space for creatives to come share their creative journeys and their mental health struggle. And the reason to that is, um, no offense to anybody else, we all deal with mental health. But when you're creative and whether you're building your brand or building your business or you're an artist, whatever creative world you're in, it's a lonely world. Especially when you have friends and family who don't understand. That's why I think we rely so much on the online community, because we
Yeah.
have people from all over the world who understand the lingo we are talking, and they don't care that we are constantly talking about it. Like sometimes when I sit with my friends, they're like, can you shut up about your podcast? But all I want to talk about is my podcast and my podcasting friends. So it was so to I wanted the creatives who are dealing also with their mental health. I want them to share their journeys with their creative world, and also share their mental health struggles and what tools or techniques they're using to get through, and how we can support each other. Because as I said, what you are doing might not work for me, or I might not even know, and then you will share and I'll be like, oh shit, I've never tried that or heard about that, let me go try. It might work, it might not. But also to give the creatives their flowers, because there's this thing in our community, in our real life communities, where people don't acknowledge you until maybe you're winning a Grammy or they see you in front of Oprah, and now everybody knows you. Oh, I went to high school with Jen. Oh my God, Jen was my bestie. We did a sleepover, and now everybody wants to know you and give you the flowers. Like, have you noticed when people won't claim anybody, but watch when that guy, oh my god, all these actors, when they become big, like when they start with small roles, nobody cares, and then they win an award, and now they're like, oh, he's Nigerian, oh, he's Kenyan, oh, he's everybody trying to claim him and trying to make him from their country and be proud. So all those things. So I want to give people their flowers right now, because right now while you're building your shit, that's when you need that acknowledgement. That's when you need people giving you your flowers, because this shit ain't easy. Not all of us have savings. Not all of us have big paycheck. Some of us have paycheck to paycheck and we are figuring it out. Some of us, like whatever our circumstances are, we are figuring it out and trying to make it work, trying to win. So that's when we want to be seen. That's when we want to be appreciated. That's when we want to be given our flowers so we can keep going. So that's what TalkShitWithP right now has become, where we acknowledge that, but also to encourage other creatives, because I know there's certain people out there who are chilling and thinking that, oh, I can start a podcast, or I can start my branding business or my consultation firm because I don't have the money or I don't have the tools. But so that when they hear these creative journeys, they can know the people you admire or the people you're watching doing it didn't start where they were. They started with this. It's a process, it's time, and you can also start wherever you are, as long as you're willing to put in the work. And so that's what TalkShitWithP is, and you can find it everywhere on every platform as a handle at TalkShitWithP, baby. I'm very active on Instagram, but I'm trying to be as active as Jen and Sambaza on YouTube, but they're killing it. So shout out to them. Like I don't get this much engagement when I go live on YouTube. So
Okay.
So
You guys have
I,
to
I gotta
follow Paula.
I gotta throw one thing in here. You want to listen to that episode about the girl dad with Paula and her dad. That was one of, in my opinion, that was one of the best shows that was ever posted on your podcast in that season. So, if you get a chance, guys, go and listen to that podcast. Very nice.
God, it was so hard to get my dad. I begged. I even put like, I was putting polls on social media and tagging him so he can see. And people like, yes, we want to hear your dad. And my dad was like, nope, nope. Like he's like, I'm supportive. I'm all, and he listens to my episodes
Okay.
and everything. But I was like, nope, nope. Then I did, because Mother's Day is before Father's Day. Shout out to all the mothers. I know Mother's Day is this weekend, so shout out, happy Mother's Day to your amazing mothers out there. But so I did an episode on Mother's Day where that was the first time I had a three-part episode, and that was the episode where I did so much editing, where I told myself I can officially call myself a producer, because that work I did, I'm so impressed and proud of myself. Like,
Good.
but
Good.
I had my bonus mom, because my dad is married, and I don't like calling her stepmother because I love her so much. She's incredible. So I had my bonus mom on part one talking about um raising teenage kids, because going in a relationship where the kids are already, and trust me, I was a daddy's girl, and boy, God knows as a teenager how I was. Bless them. So we talked about that. Then in between, I had all different mothers, like either new mothers, first time mothers, mothers of three, mothers of two, in between with different questions. Then the last part was my mom, where and I wanted the last part to be my mom, because it literally came out on Mother's Day. So I wanted that to kind of close, and she talked about giving birth to me and raising me and the type of child I was. And because me and my mom don't really get along, that was such an interesting part as well. So after that episode, my dad kind of felt left out now, because my bonus mom couldn't stop talking about how much fun she had recording that episode with me. So then my dad was like, okay, now I will come to your show.
Oh, nice. That was a good one. I did start that one, the love letter to your dad. That was very sweet. So I'm glad
Oh
you
yeah.
did that.
Oh, you listened to that? Yeah, that one was last year for Thanksgiving, when I realized that 10 years I haven't seen that man. This is the longest I haven't seen him. God bless him. But yeah, yeah. But yeah, I love my
Yeah,
daddy, man.
that's awesome. And then one last comment from Denise.
Yes.
She
So
said you.
Denise said, y'all have been great, and she said she enjoyed this segment.
Oh,
today.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I've
Awesome.
enjoyed being here and listening to you all engaging. I think you all was the you all for showing up. What do we call them? The listeners? Yes. Yeah. The listeners, y'all was
Wasambazaji?
wasambazaji.
Okay.
Oh no, how do we combine walk and sambazaji? Sambazaji. We need to come with a
Yeah, we gotta work on that.
yeah. You gotta have a name for your fan base. You know, mine I call mine the shit talkers, because we just talk shit, right?
I like that. You guys, please follow and subscribe to Paula's podcast. It's called Talk Shit with P.
Yay!
Look at Sambaza. He's like, oh, you said a bad word.
You
So
see, I told you,
goofy.
Sambaza, I make people so comfortable that they forget that they're not supposed to. But
I see.
Sambaza, that color really goes with your logo. I want that shirt in that color. Like
All right. Well,
out of all the Sambaza shirts I've seen you wearing, like that has been my favorite.
Yeah, I
thank
like that color, the wine color.
Yeah.
thank you.
But
Definitely.
Sambaza doesn't share he doesn't want me to do an unboxing. Every time I ask him for his merch, he doesn't want to give. He has refused to give me a hat. He has refused to give me a shirt. Even Raphael sent me a mug and stickers.
I'm working on that. I'm working on the merchandise this year. There's a lot of things
He
happening in the background. So
he
merch.
keeps saying he's working on that, but he's constantly wearing his own merch. Like,
That's the only merch I have. This is sample merch. Now, if you
Look,
say
yes,
you like this, then
I
hey,
want the sample. I want the sample merch.
look,
all
shout
right,
out to
cool.
the sample merch, right? Sample
Yeah,
merch.
you guys do this too, right?
Yes, shout out to the sample merch.
Okay.
But yeah, so we will definitely have those links posted for all of Paula's content. She has some great content on IG. You guys do collaboration on IG.
Oh yeah, I forgot we do that.
Well, the once a month thingy.
Yeah, we call it the pod chat. So join us on our pod chat. It's the last Saturday of every month.
Mm-hmm.
So and we go on at 8 p.m. Eastern, I believe, right? 8 p.m.
Yes.
Eastern.
7
And
cents.
we talk
7
we
cents.
talk about different topics. Last month, Sambaza picked the topics. I guess this month is my chance to pick. Well, yeah, we decide on a topic and we go IG live for 1 hour and talk some shit.
Okay, I like it. So we will have that link posted too, so you guys can check out Sambaza and Paula's collaboration, which is pretty
Sambaza,
awesome.
Sambaza is just out here collaborating with everybody. I love it.
Oh, by the way, there's more to come.
I'm proud of you, Sambaza. You're finally doing
Thank you.
some shit because I am tired. You know when we were talking about listening to your friends constantly talking stuff and then never doing it. That was Sambaza. That's why I stopped tuning him out. Like I stopped listening to him because he would just say this, and I'm like, okay, but I want to see you doing it because I'm tired of you talking about it. So I'm glad you're finally doing it. But it better
Thank
come
you.
out before the end of this year because if you keep telling me it's coming
No,
out,
no,
it's
no, no.
coming.
I think Paula, you've seen. Did I tell you guys about the APVA right now? They're gonna well, something is
What is
happening with
APVA?
the one that I won. Now I'm a two-time nominated diaspora podcaster of the year from them. So they've highlighted me on their website, and then Jollof Radio is also had me spotlight myself regarding talking about me being a podcaster. So all these things are happening on the background. This year, I'm trying to connect with Africa, and also once I'm done with that, I think I'm gonna now also focus on Afros and audio. So a lot of this is changing now to Afros and audio. We're going to be collaborating. I mean, it could be anybody who is willing to collaborate. I'm right there with you. So Paula, like you said, we started with we were with you. You brought the concept, and then Jen came up and told me, "Hey, why don't we do this?" And look at where we are right now. I mean, it's been a fun journey that I've not regretted at all. So
Okay.
yeah. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
finding the right co-host to do shit with is very hard. So when you find a match that balances each other and it's a blessing.
I'm the crazy one.
Oh, we know,
What? What
we
was
know.
that?
Eh,
Okay.
All right.
All right. So, anything else to share, Sambaza?
No, actually, we did share everything today. I think I've already summed up everything. Paula, I want to thank you for coming onto the show.
I want to share
This is
something.
oh, you want to
Yes.
share something? Go ahead
Yes.
before we conclude. Go ahead.
So for those who don't know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and one of my favorite mental health organization, it's called NAMI, NAMI. And you can go on their website, nami.org, or you can find them on Instagram, NAMI Communicate. For May, they're having, they're building awareness by insisting on people to take the moment. And what does take the moment means? Like, you shouldn't feel guilty or shame for taking the moment to just be and chill. So they are using the hashtag on Instagram or Twitter. The hashtag is take a mental health moment. So if you want to be part of that, like either when you're just chilling or you're walking, either taking a nature walk or whatever it is, you want to put it on social media and use the hashtag take a mental health moment. That's the hashtag for May Mental Health Awareness Month, to help spread awareness and end the mental health stigma. So go have fun with that hashtag. And I mean, take a mental health moment. Like,
I love
give your
that.
sometimes I feel like people need to be told it's okay to take a break, to take a moment. So that's why I
Mhm,
kind of like the
mhm.
hashtag, like we are allowing you, even though you don't need to be allowed. You should be okay with allowing yourself, but it's just like, take a mental health moment. And it's okay to take a mental health moment. And they will also be hosting NamiCon. It's a mental health conference for anybody who wants to go to attend it. It will be in June 4th to 6th in Denver. Or also you can go on their website for those people who are asking about how can we support our friends or our
Yes.
loved ones with mental health. On their website, they have a lot of courses, they have a lot of volunteering, they have a lot of how to get involved, how to support, and all that stuff. So nami.org, you can get all the information. And also, I want to share two other things: Alma and BetterHelp. Those are very good places to
Mm,
get
mhm.
therapy. Most of my therapists have come from BetterHelp. They're amazing, and sometimes they even
Nice.
give, especially I should have checked on this, but normally I know on Mental Health Awareness Month they do give people free therapy. So that's
Mhm.
the time you can use that to shop around on therapists, and they allow you to change until you find the right one. So this is the time you can shop around before you have to pay money, or if your insurance covers or whatever. So check those
Nice.
out. And for anybody who's in Atlanta, we have Life with P. I'm bringing it back in person because Paula needs
Mm.
to hang out to build a community in Atlanta where creatives and their mental health struggles come together. We can figure out how to support each other and help each
Mhm.
other grow creatively. So find me and join my community. And that's all.
Okay, we'll have to get the information for Life with Paula. Oh, that sounds amazing. So I appreciate
Mm,
you sharing that.
I think we gotta end with this. Um, we have to say that help is available. I think I'm gonna sum up this and then Jen, I'll let you finish up. I think it's important. Help is always available. Speak with
Mhm.
someone today. There is a 988 suicide and crisis lifeline. It's hours at 24. It's 24 hours and it's available for anyone. And it's in English and Spanish. You just have to dial 988 or SMS 988. They also have a chat and they also have an official website that you can go online and talk about stuff. Um, One last thing is connect with people you trust. Reach out, contact a loved one, express your feelings, and check in. Those are the four most important things that you might want to try to do first. But not try to do first, but whichever one you need to go to, choose which is suitable for you, and take action. That's the most important thing. Take action for yourself.
Amen.
Definitely. Well said. Okay. Well, again, thank you to Paula, and we will have additional content for you guys. 6 people still in the chat. We appreciate you guys so much. Heart is so full. I am just overjoyed. I appreciate it, guys. And take heed to those resources that Sambaza shared. That will also be in the show notes. Audio episode coming very soon. And with that, until next
Thank you
time.
so much for having me.
Yes, please. Anytime. You're welcome here anytime, Miss Paula. Thank you, dear. And you guys take care. At this time, we're going to go ahead and conclude the episode. We greatly appreciate you listening. We invite you to follow us on social media. On Instagram, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. On Twitter, it is Woke by. On Facebook, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. We also have the new website up, www.wokebyaccident.net. Please check us out. And also follow us on all of your favorite streaming platforms. And please leave a review and share feedback. You can also reach out by Gmail, wokebyaccident@gmail.com. And every time you listen, we appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening and take care.